Hey guys, this is Kelsey from the Arcane Library. As you can see, I'm joined by my friend, the Ancient Red Dragon Talismir, and we're both really excited to announce the launch of the Fires of Iskh, a 20th level adventure for 4 to 5 players. And I'm going to give you guys a quick walkthrough of the adventure. It's the longest adventure the Arcane Library has ever put out, so we're going to try to keep it brief and give you what you need to know to run it. We'll start off with our cover page. You might recognize a similarity between these two. No relation. Just kidding. So, we start off as usual with a table of contents, and this is going to be linked so that you can click through it if you run from a PDF. And we also have our synopsis and some advice on how to run this. The only thing missing is the link to the video right here, which I'm filming for you guys, last step. And the quick rundown of this adventure is that it's kind of a contained one-shot for epic level players. And so you could run this in isolation from another campaign. It could be the end of a larger campaign where a red dragon was the main villain, up to you, but how this begins is the players are at some location of importance to them, and ideally there will be NPCs that they care about there. And then a big earthquake strikes, followed by the effects of a meteor swarm spell because there's a giant volcano that's now coming into existence above the location they're at. And that volcano turns out to be Iskh, the home of Talismir, which the players will come to find out. So this is an incursion of the elemental plane of fire, and only heroes of incredible strength and will could ever stop something like this. So that's where the PCs come in. So what will first happen is fire in the sky. You have the volcano appearing and erupting over a site that threatens and endangers NPCs important to the players, as well as the players themselves. And this sets up sort of a timer element where we're encouraging the players to move quickly, to not rest too long, because each hour that goes by creates more meteor strikes and earthquakes. So it's kind of a trick to get your epic level players from just resting all the time and being completely unkillable, I guess, in any challenge they may face. So the players will, through some maybe knowledge checks or consulting with divine sources or just really anything, eventually determine that this is being caused by a volcano and get kind of a location. It's likely that they'll use the gate spell or some kind of planar travel spell to get to the volcano Iskh. So once they achieve that, we're going into the warm welcome section, which talks about getting inside Iskh, the volcano, and what they may encounter on their way in. So there are actually 3 entrances to the complex that they will find inside. One is through a granite door up a set of stairs. The second is about 500 feet up. There's a bronze door with a small landing in the face of the volcano. And the third, way less obvious way is players could potentially fly all the way up about 9,000 feet to the summit of this volcano and fly down inside of it, which would take them to sort of the back of the adventure, and they might be able to play through in reverse in that case. So I've used these transitions here to really great effect in this adventure to try to direct you where to go based on what the players do. I really think that this adventure shines with the transitions section in particular because there's so much potential movement or direction the players could choose. So we'll assume that they're taking the straightforward path, which is through the lowest level door. Players would encounter some new monsters, and this adventure presents 6 new monsters. Types of elementals. You have some ramped up Azers of a higher level. You have a villain, Pasha Baltasar, who is an Afridi. And then you have my personal favorite, which is the Swarm of Gorgons. We applied the Swarm template to not snakes, not rats, but Gorgons. And you get a crazy monster as a result. So those are all included along with the adventure, as well as 3 unique magic items right here, which are also particular to this adventure. So anyway, if the players enter the stronghold, they'll encounter some kind of trap-like things. They will be basically going through the first level here. So they'll be coming up the stairs, which are cratered with meteor strikes or falling debris possibly. There are monsters they may encounter on these platforms, and then once they get inside, they'll need to go across these pressure-triggered lava dump grates. Kind of a fun challenge. They very well may dimension door right past it, who knows? And then they'll come into this central chamber here. And from here, there will be 3 Afridi Guards, and those guards may or may not know about the players coming depending on how loud they are. So there's a little bit of change possible there depending on what they do. And then we have a possible way to move through into these various halls, and some stairs leading down on opposite sides, and some stairs leading up here, which goes to the bronze door that the players may have seen. So back here there's a chapel with some pews and then a statue of the Azer's god, because this is a stronghold that Azers live in, fire dwarves, and they have recently been attacked by a group of Afridi who have come here, led by Pasha Baltasar, to awaken a red dragon that they've discovered is sleeping in the caldera of the volcano. So the Azers don't really know this, they've forgotten. They once knew this, but after generations they've forgotten, whereas Pasha Baltasar, the embittered Afridi noble who wants to get ahead in the city of Brass, has made this discovery and now wants to wake the dragon up and bring her under his own control so he can use her power for his will. As Afridi like to do, they like to enslave people and things, so that's his plan. So that's why there are Afridi Guards here, and there's a statue in here of the god of the Azers, Suleiman, that has been defaced by a slashing weapon, which will eventually turn out to be the Vorpal scimitar that Pasha Baltasar wields. So the players have the opportunity to move between those rooms using various transitions. There's some recapping of the variously non-encounter areas that they might be exploring on this floor here. And then they may either have come into or move up to the upper halls. And that's this second level right here. So there's again that kind of balcony central area. This is the adamantine door inside the caldera if the players find that creative third entrance right here. There's a little platform jutting out over the caldera. And then the players will find there's a small chapel here, and then a secret door which leads to a set of tunnels. And this is one of my favorite parts of this adventure. So the purpose behind these tunnels is to challenge maybe not the player characters who are almost all-powerful at this point, but to actually challenge the players themselves. So what this is a timed maze right here. This is a bit of a puzzle/trap. So the players will need to enter here if they find this secret door, and then they'll be given 30 seconds to try to traverse this. And what I would do is give each player maybe a copy of this, or maybe choose one person to be the group leader. Give them 30 seconds, and if they can get to the center of this maze underneath that time frame, then they do not have the encounter with the swarm of Gorgons that are running around here. I timed, we had a few people playtest and time this, and on average it took about 32 seconds to get through the maze, so if your players are really fast on the draw, they might get through without the encounter. But here, at the center of here, they're going to find a pool of lava that will magically bless their weapons. This pool of lava maybe was left here long ago by the Azers who still remembered the dragon that slept in their caldera, and this turns any weapon placed inside of it into a dragon-slaying weapon. So that will be a boon against the dragon they may encounter later. Also, they'll find a special plot-driving item called the Crown of Iskh, which belonged to the king of the Azers, who is now trapped in the dungeons downstairs by the Afridi. So he'd be very happy to get that thing back, and it has some cool powers that would be helpful. So, after the maze, there are a few more spots up here. In this room, this is kind of the royal throne room, and here, when the players come in, depending on how loud they were or how much of a ruckus they made, this may actually be disguised as floor, because there are Afridi in here and Pasha Baltasar, and he is interrogating this poor Azer right here, possibly over something like where's the crown of Iskh, because Pasha Baltasar would love to have that artifact, or something else. But if the Afridi hear the players coming, they're going to hide in this river of lava, which has a bridge over it, and cast Major Image disguising the floor. So it's very likely that your players will trample or attempt to run right across this. The bridge is the hint, but they may not get it. They might run right across this pool of lava and then fall into the waiting arms of the hostile Ifrit and all the damage that comes along with lava. So we'll see what happens there. And there's a brief fight. Pasha Baltasar is sitting at this throne. He beheads that poor Azer with his first legendary action and then teleports away with his Helm of Teleportation. So this isn't supposed to be the final fight against Pasha Baltasar. He doesn't want to fight the players right now. He wants to escape and give his posse of Ifriti a chance to destroy or wear down these strange intruders. So after the fight, it's likely the players will triumph, and they may either revive, resuscitate, or have saved this little Azer who is being interrogated, and if they do that, they will be able to speak with him, get some more idea of what's going on. So, other possible encounters up here. This room has a big drop-off into some lava, 60 feet down. Always lava. We're in a volcano. And across this thin platform, there's a Baylor tethered and guarding a set of 3 treasure chests. So this is where the Azer Lord keeps, the king, I guess, keeps his most valuable items. Most things would be well protected by an enslaved or trapped Baylor, but in this case, the players might be able to take him on and get to this treasure. But this Baylor also would be willing to negotiate with the players because he doesn't like being trapped here. Horathius, and he would do some deals to get out of his current situation. He does not like Azers, he does not like Ifrit, so the players may be able to avoid a combat altogether by maybe releasing him from the dimensional shackles, the special dimensional shackles holding him. They might be able to negotiate. They may fight him. His movement is limited, but he can reach that first square across the bridge. So if anyone takes a step out onto the bridge, he's going to try to pull them in with his whip or pull them off the bridge. Could be ugly. So once the players have kind of finished exploring this area, they'll probably move down through this central area back to the floor we already talked about. From there, there's the potential to move down into the dungeon level. They could get there from multiple directions. They could take the stairs down into this dungeon cell area where the king and all the other Azers are currently trapped. The Afridi, or I guess Ifrit plural, are taking the Azers and forcing them to forge magical items on this forge they have called the Forge of Suleiman. This imbues items with magic and great potency, and the Azers are some of the most renowned forgers of magic items and metalworkers in the multiverse. And the dragon, which sleeps in the caldera down this way, has devoured all of her own treasure hoard because she's Talismir the Devourer. She loves eating magic items and drawing power from them. So now, Pasha Baltasar has been forcing these poor Azers to forge items, which he then feeds to the dragon in an attempt to wake her up. And he has gotten her to a point of being kind of awake and ready to go. Her stirrings are causing this planar incursion, and she's going to have to be stopped for this incursion to also stop. So anyway, the players may get here. They will get a chance to speak with the Azers, potentially free them. They may find the secret passage in one of the cells that leads into the forge room through a secret route, could offer the chance to surprise Pasha Baltasar, who currently waits here for them, knowing they'll probably make their way down and that he has the best chance to confront them here in this lava. He set an alarm spell here, by the way, so if the players manage to step on this and he's not here, he would teleport down here to confront them. In this direction, we have a central room. We have a storeroom, a set of storerooms with some kind of neat magic items, a little mini trap in there. It's a faulty band, iron bands, which might latch onto an unlucky player, resulting in entrapment. So, anyway, once the players get through here, they'll have a confrontation, a chance to barter with Pasha Baltasar, because again, he doesn't want to die. He would rather negotiate than see himself killed. And he can also teleport or plane shift away if needed, but he will try to fight. He has a Vorpal Scimitar, and he has one of his Afridi hiding here, invisible, who could help support him. They, during the fight, will probably summon Ash Elementals, because Pasha Baltasar is from a part of the elemental plane of fire where there's a really huge cloud of ash over the sky that's so intense that it blots out the sun. And so people call that blotted out disk in the sky the Ash Moon. And so he is from the Ash Moon region. It's near the border of the elemental plane of air. And most other Ifrit scorn people from that region, saying your purity is muddled by the nearby elemental plane of air. You're not a real Ifrit. Afridi, plural versus singular. It's a little hard with Ifrit and Afridi. But anyway, so Baltasar is embittered, and he can summon ash elementals from his region, which is kind of a cool flavor thing specific to his type. So, possible fight. If they entrap Baltasar, they might get to use his wish spell. I've had a smart group of players use it to fully replenish their health as if they'd rested before going into the final encounter, which is down through the path that you see here. Players will probably have to fly or get creative in order to get down into this caldera, but there are some places where they can stand. Once they arrive there, they will have to either summon this dragon by name or call out the evil that lives inside the caldera, which they'll have learned about by talking to the various NPCs or encountering some of the lore that's sort of hidden around this dungeon. So once they call her forth, they will awaken Talismir, the ancient red dragon. And if you have a colossal red dragon, this is the right time to use it, because she's gigantic. And she will let her rage be known for sure. She'll ask who's awakening her, who's disturbing her slumber. And that will be an epic fight, most likely resulting. And she has a few very specific lair actions. She can do 4 things that are kind of unique and flavorful to her as an enemy. She could blast a spout of magma from the caldera. She is Talismir the Devourer, who devoured her own treasure hoard in her greed and hunger. So she can pull a magic item from each player as one of her lair actions, where they're forced to relinquish it to her as it flies away from their grasp or out of their bag or, off their feet. But the players get to choose. She devours one of their magic items, potential lair action. The other is she can buckle reality, because her own presence is so powerful that she's causing this planar incursion, and she can isolate that power, buckle reality, and create a tiny anti-magic field centered on a location within 120 feet of her. 20th level players are terrified of anti-magic fields, and it's one of the few things you can do to thwart their otherwise incredible combat power. So that's kind of a fun one to have, and I think fits her thematically. So the last thing she can do is she has an orb of dragonkind inside her, and that's been condensing over the millennia from all of those items she devoured. You can see it here. She can use that now to summon 2 adult red dragons, which will, for the sake of mechanics, appear in the region of the caldera as she summons them. Normally, flying 9,000 feet down to the base of the caldera would probably take several minutes, but for the sake of the game mechanics, we'll assume that they maybe come out of hidey holes in the caverns of this massive supervolcano and join her. So she can actually summon those 2, which she controls in battle, and those can be a really great distraction so the players can't circle around Talismir and just pummel her, which is what they would otherwise want to do. So this is hopefully going to be a dramatic fight. The player's mobility is limited to either flight or where they can stand. Those young adult red dragons will hopefully provide some challenge, like they may try to push players into the lava or prevent them from reaching Talismir, so that it's not so much of a circle and smash type situation. And then when the players, if they defeat her, which I sure hope they do, they will have this orb of dragonkind that erupts out of her body and is sort of the ultimate treasure that they'll get. And this is an artifact of incredible power. Definitely a plot driver or something you could use to inspire further 20th level adventures. So that's the sort of end. Once she's defeated, you would move on to the aftermath. The incursion does end when she is defeated because her reality-buckling power is now laid to rest permanently. The Azers that live in Iskh would be very grateful to the players, especially if they return the crown of Iskh. The king, whose name is Magnar, perhaps offering to make them each a custom magic item. If the players return home, they will have been offered some really neat prizes, some building money for creating a stronghold, and some land titles. And then we also have some future adventure hooks, which include some possible ways you could make this adventure continue on. 20th level players sometimes want to keep ascending in power, and that's totally possible. So that's the whole adventure. I know this was one of the longest walkthroughs we've done. It's a long adventure, but I think it can usually be played in about 6 to 8 hours worth of gameplay. So I really hope that you guys get a chance to check it out. We had so much fun writing it. It was a big challenge, but it was really rewarding to get through, and we would love for you to enjoy it as much as we did. So thanks very much. We'll see you guys at the Arcane Library.